Hello everyone, I've come on today to show you how to make what I've called a never-ending abandoned wall book. I did this project for a mini Zoom art retreat hosted by Jerry Bellini from Recycle Parts for Art and Mary Dale Abrams from the Mary LTA, and I will link to the Zoom information down in the description box. This is going to be a process video on how to make this book. I'm just going to turn a few pages just to give you a rough idea. I am going to make a flip, but I wanted to just give you a quick idea of what we're going to make today. So I hope you'll join me and watch this video and consider joining the Zoom retreats. They're very fun little art projects hosted once a month. So I hope you enjoy. Have a great time watching. Hi. So the first thing we want to do is to get ourselves a batch of pages that are all the same size. And since this is the piece of cardboard I have right now, I am going to make it fit this piece of cardboard. I want to keep the grain of my cardboard all going the same way on my pages, for right now anyways. So I'm going to make it go up and down. Maybe not. Maybe I'll make it go sideways. That might make me happy. So, just because of the size of it, so I'm going to put that apart there and then see how big this is. And I'm not worrying if it's not perfectly straight, because this is going to be kind of a fun, funky kind of book. It doesn't have to be exactly the same size. This is 11 inches, right? Just a hair over 11 inches. So I'm going to go to 5.5. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to find I kind of like the size of this page. Looks fun. So let's see what it is. This one is 5.5 by not quite 8. So that works out pretty well. I kind of like that. I kind of like the size of it. Looks like a good size for some fun tags. So I'm just gonna go like this. And this is going to have a real rustic, junky feel to it. So I'm not going to worry over exactness. At least I'm not. If that's going to bother you, please make sure your pieces are exact. I'm just not going to let it bother me. I'm going to play with it. Oops, see, I didn't even cut it with my, cut it some extra. Okay. Now then, do I have enough room for... I do. So I got enough room for one more page. This has got this extra piece on it. Right now I'm not going to worry about it. I may take it off or I might not. Okay, let's see if that's enough pages. We're gonna go. Okay, yep, that's gonna work. So we have 6 pages that are roughly 5.5 by 8. Now they can be smaller, they can be larger. And we've got some that are nice and plain brown, and that's cool. And we've got some that have this Amazon Prime stuff on it. So I am going to distress that a little by pulling off some tape. Okay, and I like the tape left on there, so that's cool. I'm not too worried about that stuff. I just don't want it to say I don't want it to have the advertising completely on there. Now we're going to need some more cardboard later. Okay. And like I said, I'm going to distress this some, so it doesn't bother me that I'm tearing up the cardboard. There. There we go. All right. Okay. We'll do something to cover that up down the road. Okay. Now then. As a matter of fact, I think we'll take care of that right now. What I'm going to do is I am going to cut through just the top layer of the cardboard, and I'm going to rip off. You guys have seen me do this before. A big chunk of it. Okay, now on this page, I think I want a little more, but I'm doing it on this one in very geometric kind of pattern. And yes, I'm going to leave that stuff. Well, I just kind of took that off and threw it away, and maybe I don't want to throw it away. Maybe I want to use it. To add a different texture to my page. Okay, so, yep, I'm going to put those on. And I'm going to glue them down with, I'm going to use this Mono Aqua glue. I happen to like it for permanency. And especially if it's, glue stick doesn't work when it's something that has a lot of body to it. You want to make sure that it sticks, so I'm going to use that. It just has a little bit of different texture. Okay. There was one where the black stuff, yeah, I like this one. Okay, so on this one, what I want to do is I'm going to pull up stuff off all along the edge. Okay. I think I'll put this back over on this side. What we're doing with our pages, we're just kind of grunging up every page just a little bit for something different. I'm just trying to give you some ideas. We're going to do the back sides too. This book, all the pages, they're going to fold back and forth so that they end up being continuous. This kind of thing. So I'm just kind of creating some grungy texture kind of thing. And we're going to do something to the back side in a few minutes. I'm just, you know, working my way through them. Let's take this one off at the top. Am I out of frame? No. Okay. So basically we're just stressing our pages. You don't want to do too much on the same spot on both sides of your page, because if I take this side off up here, I'm going to end up with a page that's not very sturdy. So if you do one side first and then take a look at how it looks. Okay, so what I have done is I have distressed all of my pieces of cardboard on both sides. Now, I did leave some of this stuff towards the bottom not distressed because I am going to put some pockets on some of these. And I wanted, some of it will go down behind the pockets and some of it will not be. And we may find that we have to distress a few more places when we, and I did distress this one all the way through. I'll probably put it towards the middle. I found that I wasn't, I wanted to make sure that the ones where I used sort of a square or rectangle, you know, sort of something that has a straight edge, that I wanted to have some of the real distressed looking pieces torn as well. So I did sort of make sure I did that intermittently throughout the book, where I had some with some nice clean edges and some with not. Okay, so now the next part is to gather our stuff for our pockets. And the what I'm going to use for my pockets is some wallpaper samples, sorry. And I have several different pieces here. That I have, and I have choices of what I'm going to use. This one is real fun because it's very much distressed like that, but I want it to be a little bit different too, so I think I'm actually going to use this piece. I'm going to start with this piece and use it to make a couple of pockets, and we'll see where we go from there. And what I'm going to do with the pockets is, this is going to have a pocket. So what I'm going to do with the pockets is I want the pocket to actually fold on both sides like so around the bottom. So I need it to be about the width of my page, but twice as deep as I want the pocket to be. And the nice thing about wallpaper is it's got sort of a nice weight to it. It's kind of plasticky. It holds up pretty well. So do I want it that way, or do I want to just go like this? I think we'll just go like this. One thing you can remember is you can draw on the back of it, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna take a pencil and draw on the back of it. Gonna cut it with my scissors. And I don't think I'm going to get two pockets out of one piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off right here like so. Okay, I was going to tell you how deep that is. It's about 3.5 inches deep, so that means my piece needed to be about 5 3/4 by 7 inches. And see, and then I'm just going to fold it around like so. Okay. I think it's a little high on that side. I think it's a little high altogether, so I'm going to take a little off of it. That makes it about 3 1/4, so that'd be 6 1/2 inches. Yeah, I like that a little better. Okay, now to put this pocket on here, what I am going to do is I'm going to poke holes through it, and then I'm going to stitch it on. So I'm not going to do that right this second. I'm going to get my other pockets together, and so that I can do all my stitching at the same time. And I think I want to put a pocket on this one. And since I don't have enough of this piece, we're going to use another sort of coordinating piece. Well, how about that? I put the pencil back where it belongs. Now, instead of wallpaper, you could use scrapbook paper. Not a problem. Let's see. I'm just using my mat at 3 1/4 inches to fold this. But scrapbook paper would work just fine. You could use craft cardstock. Whatever you might like to use. And I'm going to save these pieces to make little tags and things out of later. Okay, so that's 2 pockets. Now let's see if we want a 3rd pocket somewhere. I actually kind of think that might be fun. Let's take a look at it. I don't know. Oh, let's do this one. I think I'd prefer this one with a pocket. And we'll go ahead and use this piece. Okay. Now then, what we are going to do, and it might help if you have some clips, even a paper clip. Let's see if a paper clip won't work because it will stay out of the way better. Just paper clip your pocket on, and it might be easier to just paper clip it from the bottom. Yep. Much easier. Okay, and then I'm going to just take my pokey tool, and I am going to about 1/4 of an inch in, and about every 1/4 of an inch I'm going to poke some holes. It might help to have something underneath that you can poke into, like a old phone book. Watch your finger, don't poke your finger. And I'm not measuring because there again, I wanted this to be kind of funky and grungy. And I'm going to poke a hole right above where that one is. And it appears my holes have gone all the way through, so that works real well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clip these and poke the rest of them, and then I'll be back. Okay, I decided that while I was off poking holes, I'd go ahead and stitch up a couple of these. I'm going to show you how I did this, but I also decided that the straight edge of this wallpaper does not give me the look I wanted, so I'm going to show you what I did. Let's get this stuff out of the way. I just took the wallpaper and tore it, leaving sort of a white edge, making sure it's still rough and everything. The paper clips worked really well as far as holding the bottom of that. Then I took my Vintage Photo Distress ink and just inked the edge of the paper, like so. And I'm not too worried if it's perfect. I just wanted to get some nice distress on it. Sorry about the noise, guys. Apparently my husband can't back the truck out of the driveway. He's kind of crooked and it is tight. Okay. Doesn't hurt if every so often you want to run off your ink on the edges of your papers. Then what I did, this is just leftover black, and that's not going to be a big enough piece. Leftover black embroidery floss, and you could use whatever you want to use. String works fine. I'm going to use string later to tie the whole book together, but for right now I'm using embroidery floss. That is, if I can find the end on this one. And I have to tell you, this is embroidery floss that was given to me, so it's all just parts and pieces. I have no idea what colors they actually are. They're old. Okay, so I have found an end. Doesn't mean it's going to not have a knot in it, but I'll have to wind that up later. Whatever you do, don't short yourself on thread. It's much better to have a little extra than to have to fight with it. If you have to fight, if you have to tie another piece onto it, that's okay. It's going to be distressed anyways. Oh, I forgot to check to make sure. Yeah, you can see everything. Let me bring you in just a little bit. Okay, now then, what we're gonna do is, on one side is where the holes were poked out, and one side is the holes where you poked them in. So in other words, the pokey tool went from this side over. It's easier if you do it that way. So I'm going to just bring this up, and I'm going to leave myself a tail, and then I am just going to wrap stitch the edges of this. And you can stitch it however you want. You can glue it if you want. I just wanted the distressed kind of stitching. Okay, and I'm going to go all the way down, putting my needle in. Another thing about not measuring the holes means that they're off here and there. That's fine with me because I wanted that distressed kind of look. I usually go around the bottom hole twice, just through the bottom hole twice. It just gives it a better seat right there on the bottom. Okay, now all I'm going to do is take my two ends and tie them in a knot. And I actually tied several knots just so they won't come out. And then I'm going to clip them off. And I left myself some little tails. Now I'll do the other side later, but again I will work from the side that the holes were punched in it. But I thought I would go on so that you don't have to sit and watch me do all of that. We're going to use some scrap fabric now. And this piece has a stitched edge on the side of it, so I want to tear that off. Or I thought I was going to tear it off. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of things on this page. I'm going to use a couple little tiny pieces of scrap fabric and just create sort of a little design piece, and then I'm going to stitch this piece on as a belly band. So the first thing I'm going to do is that. And to do that, I am again going to use my telephone book and my pokey tool, and I'm going to put like 6 or so holes, but I'm going to do it around, kind of like in a hole, in a circle. Well, I thought I was. There we go. And as you can see, I've got some, oh, I see why. It's quite thick on the back. I will just go back through those holes from this side. Try to show you what I'm doing. Just watch your fingers. Don't poke your fingers. We don't really want to have an accident in our art. The fabric's not going to be hard to sew through, just the cardboard. So, and this time I want something with a little bit of color to it. I don't want anything real bright. That's kind of rusty. And I'm just going to sew down through there and sew up. It's going to be a little harder to do because we can't totally see the holes. It's going to take us a minute. And I'm just going to sort of do a crosshatch pattern on here. Kind of like a star or something. If you can't see the holes, lift up the edge of your fabric and find it. And the fun thing is that it's going to give us pattern on both sides of our page. See here. It's just something fun, just something a little different. And these little scraps of fabric are just little odds and ends of fabric that was sitting around. Okay, now we're gonna just clip that off and make a little knot, like so. And again, I'm just going to cut it off with some, now that's probably going to flop down like that, and that's okay with me. If you don't want it to do that, then you could put a touch of glue on it. I'm going to just leave it to fray and get funky. Next we want to put on our little belly band piece. And I think I'm going to fold it in half, kind of like that. Just for the fun of it. And you know what? I think I'm going to stitch it. To make it stay folded. Now this is a tapestry needle and a pretty stiff piece of fabric, so it's going to take a bit to make it go through there. But it will. And I'm not even going to tie that or anything. I'm just going to leave it loose. When I sew the belly band piece onto the cardboard, it will get tucked under. This is going to be kind of a long video, but I'm going to leave it long. I will try to shorten up stuff when I can, but tutorials are hard to shorten. Okay, let's see if we've got enough stitched up. Now you need a little extra to fold under on both ends, or fold up. So don't short yourself. Just like thread, you don't want to have it too small. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. Yep. Okay. Cut this off. Cut that off right there. Now then, we're going to need to poke some more holes. And what we're going to do is we're going to poke like 3 holes right here in the middle, about 1/4 of an inch in. This is doubled up spot, so it's going to take a little bit to poke the holes. And then we need 3 on the top. Okay. And I think we'll use black again this time, just because, oh, and we can use this little shorter piece up. Yeah, I think so. Okay. And what we want to do is we want to fold this either this way or all the way around. Folding it all the way around is kind of fun because then it shows on the back side. We are going to have to find our holes. Once we do it the first time, it shouldn't be too terribly hard. And we're going to go through these holes several times. We really want to make sure this stays on here. So oh, this is the spot where it's the 3rd hole is clear over there, which is okay. We'll just go through it. Okay. We're just going to tie a knot in it. Oh, let's bring this tail up and tie a knot with one of these. Okay, and then we can just trim them all off. Okay. Those are a little long. There we go. And we're gonna make our band wrap around again over here. And we'll get some black. Okay, now we don't want our belly band real tight. We want it to have some room, so don't pull it down real tight. Gotta find the hole. There we go. Okay. And our next hole is right here. Come on now, where's the hole? See, this hole is just in the edge of something on the other side, so we have to hunt for it. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to go back through that one because this one, so that I have something to hold it, the nail, the knot, so I can tie the knot. Now we have a fun belly band to stick some stuff in. And I'm going to tie this one in just a little bit. You know, we want to have that not where it's going to pull out. So now we can tuck some tags in there, some nice thick tags. If you don't want it quite so loose, you can pull up your stitching just a little bit. I like it nice and loose because like I said, I want to put some corrugated cardboard tags in there. So that's one page of decoration. This one's just a little long. Let's take it off a little bit. Okay, so we got that one decorated. We've got a couple of our pages with tags. So now we're going to do some graffiti on one of our pages. And I'm going to use my graffiti letters and make some words. Well, let's see here. You know, if we're going to have distressed walls, we might want some fun graffiti words. So we'll get out T. Nice fun A. Now we need an R. And a nice R. Okay. Okay. And I'm just going to put these on with this aqua glue, and just because I don't know how well glue stick would stick to the cardboard. So I'm going to use the aqua glue. And then I'm going to take my Stabilo pencil, not that one, this one, and do some squiggles around my letters. So we have a fun little wall decoration that says art. We need something on this one. This one's very boring. So let's and I like to leave all the little chunks on my, I don't have a C. Well, we will find us a C. We need an E. 2 E's actually. And an A. Now if you're not familiar with this notebook that I'm using, I made the ransom note type letters and did this notebook. I just haven't taken the time to fill it up real well. So needless to say, I'm missing a C. So we will have to find ourselves a C. Okay. And there's a C in this one. I need to work on that particular project. Now I don't want so much above and below the letters. There's just a little much on a couple of these. There we go. Oops. Okay, we are going to hope that I can do this without making a mess. So we're going to put another we're tagging the little holes, what we're doing on that one. I do not know why this pen has suddenly decided not to write. Let's try this. No, that's too big. There we go. I like that one. Okay. So let's see now where we stand with our pages. I have. This will probably end up being my front cover. That can be the back cover. I need a hole in the middle here. And this one can go in here too. Okay, so now this is kind of boring, so we're going to need to do something to that. Okay, let's see where we stand. That's still a little boring, so we're going to look for something to do with that. And we probably need something there. But I think you guys don't need to watch me make words anymore, so I am going to go ahead and finish up all the words and stitch this up, and then I'll come back and show you how we're going to finish this, okay? Okay, guys, I did a little work while I was getting things together, and I want to show you how I grunged up the pages just a little more, and that was to take the stuff that we had torn off of our pages and glue some of it on. It just gives it another layer of grungy stuff on the pages. And it also uses up this stuff that we tore off of our book, off of our cardboard. And I sort of I pay attention if it's got a straight edge where I tore it off. I kind of put it along a straight edge just because that kind of adds to the texture. And I just put that one the wrong side up, but that's okay. And I'm not worried about getting them glued down perfectly because I really want the imperfectness of it. I want it to have places where it looks like the paint's peeling off the walls. You know, an old building downtown kind of look. Now you could have done this before you put your letters and things on, but it just makes it a little easier to not have this stuff in the way when you're putting your letters on. Okay. Just adds a little more texture. Now, another thing you can do, if you want, and I don't want to do it to this one that's wet, so we'll work on one that's dry. You can use your distress ink, and I did not distress the edges before I put them down because that would have just kind of made me crazy. So I just am going to come back in here with some distress ink. And I don't want it everywhere. I don't want it on all of the exact edges. I want it to be much more sporadic. I did distress those, so okay. So we can do that to all of our pages. Now, once we get that sort of done, we need to figure out what order our pages are going to go into our book. And I really liked this hole in the middle. And the way our book is going to turn, the front page will turn singularly, but the next two pages will sort of turn together, and I'll explain more of that later. So you need to figure out how these pages lay together and then lay them out in a row like so, because we're actually going to to sew them together here as we go. And I'm going to work from the back forward. Now that might be hard to understand, so I guess I'll work from the front back. On the front cover, we're only going to punch one set of holes, and that will be along the standard left-hand side. We've got to decide about our holes, so I'm going to make a template. All right, so we know that our book is 8 1/8 tall. So I'm going to take this piece of paper and I'm going to cut it 8 1/8 inches long. I'm going to fold it in half lengthwise. Right there. And then I want the ones for the top and bottom to be in about 1 inch. So I'm just going to fold these up about 1 inch. And then I want the holes about 3/8 of an inch in from the edge. So I'm going to measure, and this is my holes. Now I can sit this piece of paper right on top of my page, like so, and I can punch my holes in it. Now, I'm going to use my Big Bite here. With the small hole. Make sure your paper stays along the edge. And you see, yeah. Unfortunately, you cannot see me making these holes, but okay, so on the front cover, my holes are just along the left-hand side. But on the rest of the pages, except for the back cover, they have to be on both sides. So I am going to go ahead and get all the holes punched in there, and then I'll be back and I'll show you show you what the next step is, okay? Okay, so all of our holes are punched, and on the back, just like on the front, we only punch holes in one side. I mean, I guess if you wanted holes in the other side, you could put holes in the other side, but to bind the book, we only need holes in the one side. All the other pages have holes up both sides because this is a never-ending book. So the way it is put together, it will fold 2 pages at a time in some places. And now all I'm going to do, let's move these aside. I'm just going to put these two together like so, and I'm just going to put them down and tie them together. Now I'm going to leave some space between the cardboard, because if I don't, then it'll be hard to bend back and forth. This is a fun, funky book, and I'm going to leave some nice long tails. Okay. And if you have trouble, just stand them up and run them together like so. And I am tying a square knot. It doesn't really matter. This is just some string that I had. Nothing fancy. You could use your embroidery floss. The string is just a little heavier, and I thought might hold up just a little bit better than embroidery floss. And if they're not all exactly the same length, I'm not worrying about it. I'm letting it just do its own thing. Now, the thing about it is, the next page, okay, so this is the first 2 pages. The next page, we actually want to put it together on this side, like so. So, see, this is the page I want to see through my hole. This is the page, how the page is going to go together. And you notice it's flat. Each page, each set of pages is going to go together on like an accordion. It's kind of what it is going to do. The book will be kind of a concertina book, but the way it folds, it is sort of never ending. I'm just finding it easier to stand them up on their sides to get them together. And I'm leaving 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so now then this one will fold back like that, this one will fold like that. But that means that the next page, okay, let me pull it out. This is the top, then this one. So the next page goes here, okay? So I'm going to finish tying the book together and not make you sit through all that. I'll be back. Okay, so now I've got all of my pages tied together, and basically the book can unfold flat like this. But to make it behave like a never-ending book, what it happens is when you open this one and you go to turn this page just like a normal book, you turn it and you turn it, and this is the back, and you turn it like that, but then you start over again. And it comes right back around to the front. So once we've got our book to that point, we have all these lovely pockets in our book, and we have a belly band back here, and we want to tuck some things in it so that if we want to journal in it, we can. So my thought on that is to use some pieces of brown paper bag. This is just a grocery sack, and I want to have sort of a torn edge on both sides, so I'm going to tear it down this way. Fair warning, grocery sacks don't tear as easy as you might think, although that just tore very nicely. It depends on the way you're making the grain go. And we don't want them all the same. We want them all a little different. We want, there again, we're going for this grungy thing. See, when you go to go across the grain, it doesn't necessarily tear that easily. So I'm just going to tear that piece like that. And then we have to decide where we want to tuck this. Okay, so I might need to fold it a different direction. Let's fold it this way. And we can tuck it in here. And then this piece, you can tuck it in there. You don't have to put these pieces in if you don't want to. It does kind of cover up your grungy. We have this piece back here, and another thing that might be fun to tuck in is some coffee dyed paper. And there again, because of wanting it all grungy and whatnot, I'm just going to tear it in half. These will probably go in nicely half. And we can tuck them in to our belly band. Like so. Now let's get another little piece. Oh, this is fun. This is coffee dyed cardstock. Well, let's do it this way. Let's make this into more of a tag. Put one of these, put one of those in there. And one like that. Like this. And now our book has things to write on. Let's fold this piece up. And tuck it in here. Oh, I think we need another little piece of brown paper bag. And we really don't want these pieces to be square or flat or anything, because we're really trying to do this very grungy, so. I think these two pieces are actually too big. Something about them is just too big. There we go. That's a little better. There we go. Okay, and that finishes our never-ending book. Like I said, you open it one, but then the next time you turn your page, and then as you go around, you end up turning this one so that you see your other pages. Oh, I have all these places I didn't put anything in. I'll have to think about that. Okay, guys, let's read a quote from our creativity quote. Don't forget that this is a Zoom project. It was a Zoom project. It was, the Zoom is like a mini art retreat. And my friend Jerry Bellini and Mary Dale Abrams both kind of managed the art retreat. So I will put the link to their thing. This particular project is passed for them, but you might enjoy the next project that they do. Today I'm going to read a quote from 1001 Ways to Creativity, and then I'm going to get on and do some other chores. Reward yourself with little treats when you accomplish your creative goals. Oh goody, this project is finished and I can reward myself with a little treat. What shall it be? A nap? Maybe. Maybe play with my jelly plate? Maybe. Anyways, guys, have fun, make some art. Bye-bye.